and welcome to episode 18 of the CraftyLittleRat podcast. My name is Hannah, also known as CraftyLittleRat on Ravelry and Instagram, and I have this little podcast where I talk about knitting and crochet and spinning and weaving and all sorts. We're a hodgepodge podcast because I can't do anything properly, and if we waited for me to do a professional one, then you might be waiting some time. But I quite enjoy doing things. I've upped my angle of my camera, if you've noticed. I've put the tripod up on some boxes, so we've got a bit more of a sort of an upward view, and I tried to sort out a bit of that and cover up the worst of it. As I said before, we do live in a rented house, and we have free reign to do what we like with the walls and things, but money, right? Because, well, yeah, we're not made of money, obviously, so we spent a little bit of money redoing the living room, repainting the living room, so we spend most of our time, but this is just the spare bedroom slash my craft room, so I'm only really ever in here actually to record and try and put things away tidily. Try being the operative word with a lot of things I do, because it's not very tidy in here at the moment, so then maybe a bit of rummaging around trying to find bits and pieces. So without further ado, format of the podcast normally goes introduction, which is this bit, FO Frenzy, Finished Objects Frenzy. You're still working on that, which is my works in progress section. In a Spin and Weave All About It, which is my spinning and weaving section. I've actually remembered to bring my loom up today to show you guys what I've not been working on. Is probably a better thing than what I have actually been working on. Sorry if you hear that crinkling. I got Reese bought me a coffee treat thing. Latte macchiato light iced coffee. They're quite nice. Well, we went shopping. I went shopping with him, and he chucked one in the basket for me, which is lovely of him. He normally brings me one home when he goes shopping on a Sunday, and he normally goes shopping on his own because, as you'll see, I can't be trusted to go shopping on my own. Anyway, so In a Spin, Weave All About It, All Shiny, which is my acquisitions section, and then 2017 Goals, which is just a little section I'm adding on the end of this week, just to sort of have a talk about what I sort of want to get done this week. I've tied my hair back as well, so if you notice, it's got really long actually. If I bring the ponytail down the front, really long. Tied it back just so hopefully it's not so much in the way and I'm not fiddling about with it. Though I don't promise to not fiddle about with the side bits because I'm me. Right, so I've been off work this week, poorly actually. I've had slapped cheeks, so that sounds really stupid. And in children, it's called Fifth's disease because it's like the fifth most common one that kids get. Bright red cheeks, cold, flu-y symptoms. A couple of days, they're all right. They're not contagious anymore. They can go back to school. Adults get it, and joints swell. So my wrists have been really swollen. My fingers have been really swollen. I haven't been wearing my wedding ring at all because it's just been quite sore to put on. And my knees, though that's been not so much because obviously I've not been in work. So if I'm still a bit doolally, or a bit more doolally than normal, I should probably say, you'll know why. So, with that in regard, that was why I did a podcast last week, because I was feeling rubbish. So I thought, well, I'll leave it a week, it'll be fine. And then it wasn't. But I'm feeling a lot better now. I'm going to go back to work on Monday, catch up with my mountain of emails. But yeah, anyway. So when we were out last Saturday before I started feeling unwell, and Reese's sister was saying about her upcoming trip. Her and her dad are going to go to Christmas markets. I can't remember where they're going. Holland, maybe Germany, probably. She was on about how cold her fingers get. So I thought, I know the answer to this, and it's a birthday at the end of the month. Frummed Mittens. So for those of you, luckily Kirsty has very similar hobbity hands to me. Sizing isn't a problem. So for those of you, there is a pair, who haven't come across Frummed Mittens before. Frummed Mittens are basically fleece lined mittens. So you take a little bit of roving, and top is the best for this rather than using a sort of a bat. You can use a bat, but rather than sort of use a bat or use locks, I suppose would work fairly well. But yeah, you pull out a bit and then you knit it in with the stitch. There's lots of tutorials out there. But yeah, so basically what you're doing is all of those white bits is where the fleece is anchored into the knitting. So it creates a really sort of a squishy, comfy, warm fabric. So the idea is that the thrums on the inside, these little bits of fleece, are eventually going to felt together with each other. Theoretically, I think with the lining, with the actual mitten as well, I used superwash, didn't I? Because I'm not clever. So the outside of these is Woolcraft superwash sock that I picked up the other week when we went to Pontypridd, and I used 61 grams. It's held double, so it goes super fast on 4mm needles, and the thrums is just some waste yarn. I bought a friend a kit over a year ago now, and this is how worked up I still am about it. And I ordered it about 6 weeks in advance, and then they didn't respond to my emails at all. And they'd been poorly, which is fine, I understand. But if you're a business owner and I'm paying you for things, you either need to let me know that you're poorly, which is fine, it happens to us all. Let me know that you're poorly, and I will be happy enough to forgive, and, well, not forgive, because there's nothing to be forgiven. If you're poorly, you're poorly, and I know this better than anybody, really. But you need to communicate with me. Or if you are poorly but still want to continue to have things like your Etsy shop open and trading, then get somebody else to ship your orders. This wasn't a custom order, it was a kit. It was literally putting 4 things inside of a box and shipping it. Anyway, I eventually got it. She overnighted it to me in order so that I got it literally the morning of, because it was signed for. I had to go to the post office, then I went to my friend's. Then I went and met up with my friend for her birthday. Well, met with my friend when I was seeing her. It was well after her birthday by this point. But yeah, she sent me the person who did this sent me some extra spinning fibre, which I ordered a knitting kit as well, which sort of slightly weirded me out, right? I am a spinner. I can use the fibre, but I couldn't give it as an extra to the person because they don't spin. I don't know. I'm obviously still well bitter about this. And I haven't used them since, but I'm not name dropping them. But yeah, they're one of the people that's really looked up to in the fibre world in the UK, you know, and it just was really unprofessional, but hopefully they've learned their lessons, and anyway, blah, 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 blah. So that was the fibre that's in there. So I don't know what the fibre actually is, but it did seem to felt. I took a little ball of it, I wetted it, rubbed it between my hands to add friction, felted. So over time those are going to felt in to make a sort of a really warm, fluffy liner for them. So yeah, hopefully Kirsty will like them. It's her birthday at the end of the month. We've got her another present, but they're going to get wrapped up as a little extra because extras are great. So that's them. Secondly, I managed to start and finish a pair of socks since I've last spoken to you. So, and I apologise for the lighting. It's only going to get worse as the year goes on. I'm really sorry. I'm going to have to think about getting some proper backlighting. I've got a ceiling lamp up there, and I've got a little desk lamp here that I can turn on. Both are energy saving bulbs. I'm not entirely sure how good they are. If anybody else podcasts, will you let me know how you deal or don't manage to deal with the light? It's yeah, it can be a big problem. But there we go. That's a better thing of the stitch pattern. So it is the blueberry waffle sock. Kind of, sort of. So the blueberry waffle sock is a 4-row, 4-stitch. 4-stitch repeat over 4 rows. It's a free pattern, so I'm not giving anything away. It's broken rib, basically. But it's worked for DK weight. So I put the pattern in and applied it to a ordinary sock. These are for my sister for Christmas. They are in Rico Design's Superba Bamboo. She doesn't like wool socks because they're too hot. So that's fine. I did a Fish Lips Kiss heel, and I don't know whether you're going to actually be able to see very well, but can you see just there in the first few rows of that purple? I did a 6-row, sure whether that's hair or fibre. I did a 6-row slip stitch heel flap. So I did 6 rows, and then I did the Fish Lips Kiss heel. When I'd finished the Fish Lips Kiss heel, I picked up stitches and I just decreased them away on the gusset. It's better to see. It's slightly better to see on this one. You can see the gusset decrease line. And I, rather than decreasing them every other row, like you do with a standard heel flap and gusset, I decreased them every 4 rows. So 2 stitches were decreased every 4 rows. So in total it took me 12 rows, 16 rows, because I picked up 3 for the heel flap and 1 in the corner. So it took me 16 rows to decrease them. But I feel like it gives a slightly roomier heel, especially on the sort of the bottom of the foot. I just wanted to try it out really. Beth has quite wide feet, so I used a 72 stitch sock. These are on my ordinary sock blockers, but as you can see, there's still quite a bit of stretch left in the fabric there. The length, there's a tiny bit longer on the length. If I, you know, it depends where I position the heel, but they're a little bit longer than my normal socks. But I can position it so that the heel sits a bit higher and it's not, and it looks okay on my sock blockers. Don't know. We'll see when she gets them. These are an additional Christmas present for Beth, because she asked me to make her socks, and I thought, well, you know, I will make you socks if you ask me to make you socks. So those are going to go get wrapped up as well this afternoon. I am side aside. I am completely on the ball. I have nearly finished all of my Christmas presents. I bought one more today, and I have one more to buy when I see something, but I want to have a look in a when we go to one of the Christmas markets. I think we're doing Bath this year, so I want to have a look and find something there. Yeah, I want to have a look and find something there. So sadly, I don't feel like I'm going to be able to entertain. I might be able to sneak off to wool maybe while I'm in Bath, but I don't think I'm going to be able to sneak off to a yarn story, which is slightly disappointing, but there we go. Right, sock blockers. 2.25mm needles I used. It was colourway number 3 for the cool waffles and colourway number 46 for the from Mittens, which were by Gay, G-A-I, Gay Evans. Yeah. See, told you. Show notes. I will do show notes this time. Should really start a Ravelry group. I'm a bit worried nobody's going to watch it. Oh, a bit worried nobody's going to watch it. Join it. A bit worried nobody watches this. So up to 46 subscribers or something Reese told me the other day. I don't do the analytics because I'm a bit worried, to be honest. I had my first podcast troll the other day. I know, get me, right? Somebody had sort of talked about, I'd said sort of, ew, rats, because obviously my name is CraftyLittleRat. We don't keep rats anymore. We used to keep rats. I've wanted rats ever since I was little. They're brilliant pets. They're very clean animals, despite what you might think. And I know not everybody likes them. That's fine, you know. But they're very clean, they're very intelligent, and they're very humorous little critters. I wanted some for forever. So we adopted Tiffany off somebody with the aim of finding her a new home, because he said he was just going to let her loose. And I, you know, animal lover. And then, yeah, she never left. We got her Romy as a friend. And then when Romy passed away, she had, bless her, a brain tumour, we think. She didn't know up from down. She'd had really bad abscesses under her chin for most of her life, which were hell to get rid of. But anyway, maybe the tumour, maybe the abscess ended up going to her brain or tumour or whatever. So anyway, after we had her put to sleep, we ended up with 4 little girls. Tiffany was the first one. Esk, Maggie, Jitha and Esme, all named after the Discworld witches, and a wizard in Esk's case, I suppose. And then we ended up with Corwin, our boy, who we rescued. Our old vets gave him to us because he'd come through somebody's cat flap. Who was sat eating the cat food while the cat looked on in disgust. But he was a domesticated rat as well. He was white with pink eyes. But yeah, we don't have any at the moment, but I've really loved them. And then Crafty Little Rat, it just, I don't know, I just really liked the ring of it. So yeah, but yeah, they're not tearing our house up inside out, as the troll did say, which was quite funny, I thought. Troll, is it troll for one slightly negative comment? Discuss. But it was really, really funny. I got a real kick out of it. I was telling people at work about it, and Jeff was like, haters to the left. So yeah, haters to the left. If you don't like my blog name, but don't sit and listen to me, if you decide you hate me, and you don't like my style of blogging after you've sat and listened to me, then fine. I know I'm not everybody's cup of tea. I'm never going to be everybody's cup of tea. You know, I'm disorganised, don't get much done, I don't have all of the really expensive things, but you know, I am what I am, and I like a big variety in my podcasts. I do. But yeah, but just on my name, you know, it's a little thing to ignore. I'm not sat here with a rat on my shoulder constantly. I wish I was. How awesome would that be? Anyway, I am rambling now, aren't I? If you don't like me rambling. Anyway, so you're still working on that. Back to it, Hannah. So, the Ashling shawl by Justina, Justyna Lorkowska, Lorkawska, and it is Ashling. I looked it up. There's a British comedian, an Irish comedian even, called Ashling B. So that's how I'm pronouncing it. B-E-A, Ashling B-E-A. She was on QI the other day, which is very good. Like QI. I liked QI before with Stephen Fry, but I really, really, really like it now with Sandy Totsvig. She's lovely. Really like. Anyway, Hannah, knitting podcast. So anyway, last time I spoke to you guys, I'd finished, or nearly finished, the body of the shawl. Which I have now finished the body. And I don't know how well that's going to be, maybe a bit blown out. It is neon speckles. So yeah, the colours are probably quite accurate. It's very, very bright. And the turquoise is also really bright. So the multicoloured yarn is Ocean Park Yarns Classic Sock in neon rainbow splattered. And the aqua turquoisey colour is Rain City Knits Super Sock in bright aqua. So I've finished the body, and then it is an applied edging. So I don't know how well that's really coming out. I sort of seem to be a bit backlit, which is why I was trying to not place the camera. But it's sort of cables and lace. So I've done a few repeats of that, but I still have 18,777 repeats to go, because I've got to do all of that bit. So it's taking a long time. The thing is with it is, this is me. It's not the pattern at all. It's not. I have this mental block where I think that once I get to an applied edging, that like I'm nearly done. Oh, this is the turquoise. It's bright aqua. It is so bright. It's lovely. Oh, it's so soft. I think it's nearly done by the time I get to the applied edging. It's like almost just like binding it off, right? It's not. It's really not, especially with this one. The body of the shawl is the brainless, mindless knit. And so I think I'm nearly done. And then all of a sudden it's this really hard, charted, not hard, but like concentrated, chartedness for the last sort of big bit. So I'm sort of only really halfway done with the actual shawl by the time I get to the edging. And I should maybe remember that, but obviously I didn't. So I'm moosing along. It's a phrase from one of the boards I'm on. It's can't quite remember how it came about, but when you've got something and you're just plodding through, you call it moosing along. So I'm trying to do one repeat and then 10 minutes spinning, and then one repeat and then 10 minutes spinning. So hopefully I should have that done. It depends again how much brain I have after work, but you know, we can't win them all. Okay, so next is the Batik cardigan. And I don't think I brought up the right bit because I brought the back up. But I can show you the back anyway. I finished now both fronts. So it should be fairly quick. This is Starcraft Batik DK. And the colourways is, the background colour is graphite. And the stripes are old gold, heather, sage and olive. Heather and olive don't particularly show up particularly well, but they are there. So this is the back. I didn't bind off the stitches, I left them on a holder. Whether I may regret that later on, if I do, I can always, because you have to pick them straight back up again. So I know binding off gives you structure, but it is the back of the neck. We'll see. I've just got sleeves now. Sleeves, assembly, front bands. I'd sort of wanted it done by the time I went. I'm going to go see some friends next weekend in Barry, and I kind of wanted it done by that, but it is not going to happen. So I will have to wear other knitwear instead. It's Barry, right? Barry Island in Wales. So it's potentially just waterproof. Waterproof and a shawl. What more could you want? That's typical Barry clothing, I think. That's also on 4mm needles. So as I say, hopefully by the time next time I speak to you, I'll have some shawl sleeves. God, Ham. Sleeves for that. Other things I've been working on but didn't bring up is my Linus on the lines, but it doesn't look much different from the last time I showed you it, just slightly larger. So we will move on again to my next section, which is in a spin and weave all about it. So I thought I'd actually bring Maloom up with me. This is an Ashford rigid heddle loom that has slipped down, that lives in there somehow. There we go. So yeah, it's so called obviously because sort of sit like that. This is the reverse side of it. Oh, it's not. That's the front side of it. So yeah, so that's in neutral position, which means that the heddles are, which means that all of the strings are in line. If I move it, I haven't got a lot of tension on here at the moment, obviously, because I'm not currently weaving anything. But if I move it up, you can see, probably slightly better from the side, can you see how half the threads are up, half the threads are down? And then if I put it underneath, I put it so that it was in the shed was in the lower section. Move the shed down. You can see how now that's changed so the alternative threads are down. So these are tea towels. We're going to be tea towels. We're going to be tea towels. I'm not sure now, to be honest. And the cotton, it's Drops Heart U5, Love U5. It's got a heart on the label anyway. So yeah, so I was just doing a sort of a striping thing, but I haven't really picked it up. These strings here are just to denote how far I'd gone, but I've lost track of the piece of paper I'd written that down on. I haven't touched this since July, so I'm going to try a bit more. It requires me to be somewhere with a table because obviously, see those cut out notches there, they rest upon a table and it's quite hard to do. I don't have a little table. I went and looked today, but I didn't see any that I fancied. Not even the sort of the £8 craft table things. So yeah, I sort of want a better side table, and then I can use my side table as a craft table. But yeah, I haven't got a lot of tension on here. I probably should really increase the tension before I start weaving. But yeah, so I thought I'd at least show you that I sort of kind of still have a loom. And I want to weave more about that later, really. Sort of been thinking about what I want to do for next year, for 2017. So I have made a couple, I've picked my Zoom loom back up. The Zoom loom is a miniature pin loom. It's by Shact. I can never pronounce that right. S-C-H-A-C-T? No. But anyway, it's a little pin loom. You create little 4-inch squares. This is Patterns Croy, blue striped rag. This is the Ocean Park Yarns Classic Sock Neon Splatter. And you can see just how different it comes up with the weaving. Fascinating. And then this was this is some ancient arts in the cat yarn in the I was going to say I thought I had those socks on today, but I don't, which is the Calico Cat colourway. I laid that all out this morning because I thought I'm done with it mentally. But then when I laid it out, I thought, actually, do you know what? Looking at it all together as a wanna, really like it. I maybe just need to put a bit more effort in. So I'm going to put a bit more effort in, I think. And I'm definitely going to wrap it up by the end of next year. But I want to have enough to have a decent sized blanket. I'll talk a bit more about that in the end bits in the 2017 goals again. So, in a spin. I've been spinning. I've been spinning the wool. It is wool. It is from a sheep, but it's from a specific sheep breed. But I'm not telling you what sheep breed it is until after the recipient has it. Yeah, it's mystery. But yeah, this is very, very hairy. I've literally been shedding. I've been shedding because of my thyroid and because of the weather change. And also this has been shedding. So a lot of the time it's a question, sheep hair, Hannah hair, sheep hair, Hannah hair. Who knows? But yeah, this is a little bit of the fibre I've got left. I think this is all I've got left. I think after I've spun this, I will have spun 100 grams onto this bobbin. And it's very nice. And it's very woolly. And it's very, very boringly white. The person is going to love it. I know they are, but I also thought while I was here, I thought I'd bring up my new bobbins to show you. So this is an old bobbin. This is a bobbin I got when I bought the wheel. And then this is the new one. So apart from being slightly lighter in colour, because I finished these, I haven't finished these yet. The really interesting thing is these. So you see how that's like a grommet? The new ones, that protrudes slightly. The new ones have a flat one on the top. That's the big side and that's the small side. And I figured that's really ingenious. I don't know, it amused me anyway. So I'm assuming obviously they changed the style of certain things after I bought my wheel. I think the new Ashford Travellers have 4 drive bands on 4 whirls on them, which affect your ratios, how finely you can spin. Mine only has 3, but still. Yeah, so I thought, oh, I'm going to try one of these new bobbins for the second half of the fibre, I think. But yeah, I'm quite happy with that. As I say, 10 minutes every so often. Sort of at the weekend, I'm getting sort of 3 or 4 sessions in of 10 minutes a time. And in the week, I hope to get at least 1 session a day with that. So that's that for In a Spin and Weave All About It. So the next section, I've just realised that I didn't pull up my blog. Because my blog is where I talk about my goals, but never mind. So my next section is all shiny. Come on, internet. So I went out today and I made Reese go and take me to Tesco's, and I got some new trainers. Bear with me. Blogspot. Just bringing up my blog on the tablet. Technology, isn't it brilliant? There we go. So I went and got some new trainers. I had a look at candles in Tesco's. They've got a really nice couple of scented ones, candy cane. But I ended up going to Dunelm Mill and I ended up picking up this. So that's 2 giant candles. Well, medium-sized scented candles, they say. Totally destroyed the packaging. Yep. I think they're designed to be sort of a gift set. Gifts for me. Treat yourself. I did treat my friend as well, so it's not an entirely selfish treat to yourself. So this one, which Reese really liked, is Vanilla Amaretto. Lovely. We've got quite a thing for vanilla candles at the moment. The ones we're currently burning are vanilla. And then this one is Festive Berry, which smells sort of very sweet and a little bit cinnamony. And it's really nice. So they're a good size for my front room, actually. Anything smaller than this, sort of a similar size to the Marcus's ones. Anything smaller than this, and you don't really get the sort of the impact of the scent because the room's just too. The room's too big. What a first world problem. My house, the front room is effectively a front room and a dining room. So the kitchen is an extension at the back. So the entire front of the house is the front room. So there's a front room, there's a little bit of a blocked off hallway with the stairs in it. But yeah, so essentially the entire width of the house is the front room, and it goes quite a way back because where you traditionally have the kitchen, you don't. It's in the extension, and it's a big extension. Huge downstairs, tiny upstairs, no inbuilt cupboards. But you know, we rent. It is what it is. It's a good house for you know where we are. But anyway, I couldn't resist some festive yarns as well. I really fell down the festive yarn rabbit hole. I bought some Cascade Yarns Heritage Prints. This is the festive colourway, I think. 26 is the colourway number. And that there is how, if it will focus. That there is a rough idea of how it would knit up, if you're viewing it slightly blurrily. But yeah, I really like that. It feels really soft, actually. Made in China. Doesn't actually say 75 superwash merino, 25% nylon. So Christmas socks. Christmas socks will probably be cast on before the next podcast. It's Christmas. And also speaking of Christmas yarns, I went online to Moffy and the Squid. I haven't had any Moffy and the Squid yarn before. Because, well, I don't know. I've never been at a place where they've been vending. But I've heard really good things about them. So this is Candy Cane. That's her label, which is the squid, which is awesome. So it's Candy Cane, 6 metres, 75% merino, 25% nylon, 4-ply sock weight, superwash treated, 420 metres per 100 gram skein, suitable for 2 to 3 millimetre needles. So I think this is a really long skein. I haven't yet unbundled it. Oh, actually. Yeah, actually. Oh, actually, that's not too long. But yeah, that is. Oh God, is there more? Yes. Okay. I am not entirely sure how I am going to wind this. She did say it's a 6 metre skein, so I mean, you know, it is a 6 metre skein. It is a 6 metre skein. Sorry, my video file cut out there. Yeah. How do you wind such a large skein? Obviously my Swift doesn't go this wide. Very, very gently and slowly. Lay it in a pile on the floor and try? I don't know. I really don't know. So maybe this one will get wound for... maybe this one will get wound first now, given that I've totally destroyed the skein. I ain't even going to try re-skeining that up, to be honest with you. But it's nice, and look, it's Christmassy. That's my job for this afternoon then. Anyway, on that note, 2017 goals. So I've been thinking about what I want to do for 2017. I only had a couple of goals for 2016, I think. I can't remember whether I talked about them on the podcast. But my goals were 80-20 yarn used to yarn bought ratio. So I would knit 80% of, you know, so say I bought 100 gram skein, I would knit sort of like, I would, you know, more would have to go out of my stash. yeah, so say I bought 100, which I did buy 100, so I did buy 100, well, say I bought 20 skeins this year, I'd have to have got rid of 80. That didn't happen. Oh God, no, that didn't happen. That really didn't happen. I totted it up. I've bought over 100 skeins and balls of yarn this year, mind. Really. Yeah. I've used 61. But anyway, stash management is definitely something I need to think about this year. Finish up 2015's Wonderwool yarn before 2016's Wonderwool yarn. Great, brilliant. And knit 12 pairs of socks. So I'm on course for that one. I definitely knitted all of the Wonderwool yarn. I bought a lot more at Wonderwool this year. The first cube there, that's Wonderwool yarn still left from this year. So I don't think I'm going to hit that again. But anyway, yarn management for 2017. Definitely been thinking about that. So I'm thinking for every 100 grams I bring in, I should really put 200 out. Or ideally, I'd like to use twice the meterage of whatever I bring in. That's an easy one to calculate. Not every yarn I buy comes in 100 gram balls. I don't ever use 100 grams exactly. So yeah, so what I plan on doing is I plan on the 31st of December, going into my Ravelry, downloading a spreadsheet from Excel from my stash, crying slightly, making a note of it, and then it's easy to tot up how much I've used during the year because I can, I tag my projects with the year, so then you can create a collection or a grouping in Ravelry with the year tag, which I have done sort of consistently since 2013, 2014 I think. So I always accurately record my yarn used, and at the bottom it tells you how much meters you've used. So that'll be an easy way to test that one out. I love my yarn and I love what I've got, and I need to start using it. I really do. Christmas yarn's an exception, right? Because it's sort of like a Christmas present to yourself. Anyway, spinning. I haven't spun a lot this year. I know a lot of that ended up with Winter Camp 2016, which I took part in, which was part of the sort of the Canadian Knitter podcast, and Two Tangled Skeins and Sarah Nova Crafts and a lot of other ones. A lot of Canadian and North American people worked really hard to get that in. Spinning and weaving were not part of the goals. You couldn't get points for any spinning or any weaving, so it felt a bit sort of pointless, especially as you were in teams. Felt a bit pointless to do them because you wouldn't be getting your team any points. So I didn't do any for a long time. I didn't do Tour de Fleece this year. I never do Spinzilla, but I didn't even sort of spin in you know, spin alongside. And I've really missed it. I quite enjoy doing it. So I need to do a bit more. So I'm hoping to do 6 braids or 6 quantities of fibre in the next year. So quantity being at least 50 grams or more. I've got some braids that are 200 grams, well, 100 grams, and I've got some lots of Rolags and things that are, I mean, you know, these gorgeousness. They're actually 110, but you know what I mean. So, yeah, so that gives me 2 months per one. That's great. Weaving. I'd like to weave at least 4 things in the next year. They may just be scarves, they may just be scrap blankets, they may just be tea towels. That's fine, but I want to get at least 4 things woven. 1 a quarter, just, you know, just to get skills a bit more firmly cemented. Part of why I maybe haven't been weaving so much is because I'm not great at it, but I am a newbie at it. I haven't been weaving particularly, well, at all really. Made 1 scarf and that's my second project. So because I'm not instantly as good at it as I am knitting and crocheting, which is ridiculous because some of my early knitting and crochet stuff was horrid. You know, it was the product of its, you know, beginnerness. So ideally, I'd really like to get some more weaving under my belt. Socks. Socks are now, this will be, I think this is my 3rd or my 4th year of socks. 12 pairs of socks in a year. Socks, a pair of socks a month. I'm never going to stop. Ever. And the more you have, the longer you can go before you have to wash them. Well, rather than just put a load on for 2 pairs of socks, you put a load on for sort of 8 pairs of socks. I normally try and do at least one load a week of hand knit socks. I'd maybe consider doing slightly more challenging socks. I've done some plain socks. I'm sort of still debating that, to be honest. I've got a lot of striped yarn. You know, yarn like this, which you can't really do a pattern on. It's not going to work. 4-ply scrap management. So I very much debated whether I was going to carry on with my Zoom loom pattern. And then I laid it out, and I'll put a picture in. I can't remember whether I said I'll put a picture in. That's horrid, isn't it? It's only 30 seconds ago. I'll put a picture in here again. Or for the first time. Okay, so I wasn't sure before I laid it out whether I wanted to carry on. And I do. I really do, actually. Now I've seen it all laid out together. Not in any particular colour order. Not you know, sort of, yeah. Squares of the same type together, that sort of a thing. I kind of do want to continue and make it a big blanket. But I also want to start a Cozy Memories blanket. And I've been sort of struggling with the fact that I want to do a Cozy Memory blanket. So I've not been doing either. I think I'm going to still leave the Cozy Memories blanket and cast that on the 1st of January. But I think that I'm going to maybe implement what I'm going to call Blanket Fort Sunday. So every Sunday I'm going to work at least 2 squares. So at least 2 squares, 2 Zoom Loom squares, 2 blanket squares. So over the course of the years, 52 weeks in a year, that will net me 104 squares. If I do more, I do more. If I, you know, but at least those 2, and then it'll net me at least some fairly decent progress on them. So yeah, that's what I'm thinking about for goals. I've put at the bottom, goals may be suitable to change at 0 notice, because they might do. I'd be really interested to hear what your goals are for the next year, for 2017. Have you started thinking about goals yet? Do you have goals? Do you fly by the seat of your pants? You know, there's one more thing I'd like to do, which is in January, Zoe from the Pins and Needles podcast, which is a brilliant podcast, by the way. Hi, Zoe, if you're watching. Zoe's going to start a new skills craft along, but with a potentially snappier title than that. And I'm going to be joining in with her. I'm going to be taking part in that because I want to learn. Well, I don't want to learn. There's a pattern I like that has brioche in it. And I've never done brioche before. And it does actually slightly intimidate me. There's not a lot in knitting that does intimidate me, but brioche just slightly. So I'm going to be, in January, I might do a rug placemat to start off with. There's a good pattern in the thread that we both frequent for that, sort of a rug mat. I might do that first, just to double check, see whether it is something I can do. But it's a gorgeous shawl. I should have really printed off the pattern and brought it with you. I don't think I own the pattern yet. I should buy the pattern and print the pattern off and show you. I might do next time. Because I will not have any, I shouldn't have any stash enhancement next time. Touch wood, fingers crossed. Shouldn't. I don't plan on buying anything, so if I do have anything, it'll be a gift. So maybe a sort of a whistle-top stop tour through some of the things I'm planning, because I've shown you guys yarn as it's come in, but I know people might have missed episodes. I know that sometimes seeing it with the pattern is better for me, so commit to things and then they may actually manifest themselves in the next 12 months. So that's all I've got to blather on at you for today. Thank you ever so much for watching. Thank you ever so much for putting up with me being poorly. I'm spotty. Nobody would have probably have noticed unless I said, but yeah, really spotty. It's caused me to have a ginormous spotty breakout, which is so attractive. But yeah, I'm feeling a lot better. Back to work tomorrow. I'm gonna take my painkillers like a good girl. and maybe do sort of a short day to start off with, maybe sort of try and ease myself back in next week. But I don't have to drive on Monday. Kirsty's driving me, so that's nice. But anyway, I had better go and do some more ashling and some more spinning. So I hope to have at least something finished to show to you next time. Thank you for bearing with me, and I'll see you in 2 weeks. Happy knitting, happy crafting, happy